And I'm going to have to start by saying, I know Coralie Murphy. I've known her for about 5 years, and I'm really honored, truly honored to be introducing Coralie tonight. Coralie was born in Prince Edward Island, but moved early in her life with her family to Cape Breton. She received a Bachelor of Arts in Community Studies with a sports option, along with a Bachelor of Science degree from then University College of Cape Breton, after which she earned a massage therapy diploma from the Sault College of Applied Arts and Technology in Sault Ste. Marie. Since 1999, Coralie has been a registered massage therapist and clinic owner in private practice. Living in Fox Lake, a remote community in northern Alberta, Coralie was shocked by how little was available to residents in terms of nutrition and medical services. She saw many suffering the health effects of easily transportable, high sodium and sugar, preservative and fat-laden Western-style food. But there was no opportunity for the people of Fox Lake to eat otherwise because nutritious, wholesome, and life-giving food was simply not available to them. While the absence of choice may be inevitable in remote communities, that cannot be said for the more populated regions of the country, where Coralie continually witnessed people eating as if the typical North American diet was the only option. As a healthcare provider, that troubled her deeply. And being Coralie, she set about to change that attitude. Thus was born her Journey Alive program, a program that has been featured on CBC Radio, in local newspapers, ATV News, and most recently on an internet radio program broadcast out of California. In the 5 years I've known Coralie, I have watched her create, define, redefine, and further develop her program, all the while driven by her desire to educate and by her passion to see her family, friends, and community live a life characterized by health, by balance, and overall well-being. Please let us warmly welcome Coralie Murphy.
You want perfect stuff for it?
Well, you can go right ahead.
I'm some tall.
I'm some tall.
How's that one here?
That's great. Wow, thank you so much, Marie. First of all, I'd like to start off by thanking all of you for coming out this evening and joining me tonight. I know that everyone is busy and sometimes it's hard to slip away from family and friends. In addition, I'd like to thank Marie. I think she just summed up my whole 18 minutes, so I could probably go and sit down now. But for those of you that don't know Marie, I've had the pleasure, like Marie said, to have known Marie for the last 5 years, and she is one of the most amazing human beings I've ever had the pleasure of meeting. So I wanted to thank you, Marie, for such a beautiful and heartfelt welcome to Ideas. I've never actually attended an Ideas seminar series, so when Nicole asked me to come, she sat with me in my office and she had to give me basically the lowdown about what was going to be expected of me this evening. And I met her with basically two trains of thought, one of enthusiasm and one of a little hesitation. Enthusiasm because, of course, I get to come out and share with you what I've been doing in this community over the last 4 years. And a little bit of hesitation because, one, the time restraint, that I have 18 minutes, which we might expand a little tiny bit this evening. And for those of you that have participated in this journey with me, they know that this is going to be a real challenge for me. And the other was the fact that this was about more of my passion. That up to this point, I've basically been talking about the cleanse proper, the protocol, the science. And this was a deeper look into my personal relationship with the program. And that, of course, made me do a lot of reflecting and a lot of thinking. So, of course, I started this journey for this evening in this talk, really trying to understand what exactly passion meant to me. And it was last week I was speaking with a friend who lives out west, and it was actually 2:30 in the morning, great for balance. And I sat down, and in my own creative process, I wrote the word passion on a piece of paper. And I think we have some markers here. I'm usually a mover and a talker, so it's really hard for me to stay in one place here. And I'm going to share with you my extrasensory experience. Little tiny markers. At 2:30 in the morning, I wrote this word on a piece of paper. And like I said, as part of my creative process, I decided that I would just close my eyes and let thoughts filter through my mind and decide what it is in 18 minutes that I really wanted to share with you. When I opened my eyes a few moments later, I didn't see one word. I saw 3 words. I saw what I would like to pass on. So my passion, the information that I would like to pass on to you this evening is some of the most important information I hope that you will hear. This information can truly transform your life. It can truly save your life. And it is something that has deeply affected me in both my life and that of my community. Like Marie has mentioned, there was 2 experiences, one of which was a matter of geography, and the other was a matter of my personal journey, my personal experience that really helped motivate me to bring this to a communal level. In Fox Lake, as Marie has so kindly pointed out, and you're probably going to notice that I won't say this as elegantly as she did, but in my experience in Fox Lake, the day that I arrived, my husband is an RCMP officer, and we were posted to this small native reserve in the north. And I jumped in with both feet. I decided that this is going to be a journey, that I was going to welcome anything and everything that I was exposed to. For the first time in my life, I saw and witnessed what foodborne disease looked like at a community level. In all of the communities across the country, foodborne disease is very similar in nature as far as the anatomy and the physiology and the pathology of whatever the condition is. But the way it looked in Fox Lake was so glaringly different because they didn't have the medical services provided to treat or and sometimes mask the symptoms of such diseases. I then, as the year progressed, realized that my own body was morphing into this thing that I didn't recognize. I had gained over 65 pounds in 1 year, and I was the sickest that I've ever been. I had colds and flus on a monthly, bi-weekly basis. It was truly insight as to what food can truly do to a person. So in 2007, my sister was diagnosed with MS. And I decided, for my own self-preservation, that I was leaving my husband in Fox Lake and I was going to start my journey back to health. And when I moved back to Sydney, what I realized as I meandered through the stores here, the grocery stores of Sydney, Cape Breton, that a lot of the foods that were in the carts of the people here were stunningly similar to the foods and the food items of those in Fox Lake. And what I became aware of was the fact that this is not necessarily just about choice, but this was in fact about the awareness of the fact that we have a choice. The second experience came as a result of a conversation with my brother. In 2009, in June of 2009, my brother and I shared in a very intimate conversation as he was actually going to embark on his first cleanse program. And so this kind of conversation happened over the evolution of a couple weeks, I guess. And on this particular evening, Jason and I sat and we talked. And he just said to me, "You know what, Cor?" He said, "You have so much information. You have so much experience and you have so much passion. Why can't you take this to the next level? You have something to give. Give it." He said, "I truly do believe that it is a shame to live any day less than great." And I thought that's a pretty inspired conversation for a 30-year-old man working in the oil fields who has never actually done a cleanse yet. So I kind of put that on my brain shelf, and I decided that I would leave it there and, mull it over, and I didn't know what that was going to mean for me or what that was going to look like. 1 month later, my brother was killed in a motorcycle accident. And those words resonated with me on such a deep and profound level that here I am sitting in the most vulnerable, emotionally vulnerable aspect of my life. And I can hear him say, "Don't live any day less than great." These words over the following months truly impacted me on such a deep and profound level, because all I could hear were these words. And in the fall of 2009, I decided it was time, that I needed to go out and make a change that this community really, really needed. What would a community look like that lived to its highest potential and was one person capable of making a difference? So I figured, I have nothing to lose, let's give it a shot. So basically, I have been studying holistic alternative and complementary medicine really for the last 20 years of my life. And what I've come to know is that we have an inherent ability to heal, that our bodies want to heal on such a dynamic level that the only thing that really separates us from healing is essentially us. We know that there is a cellular intelligence beyond what science is even able to comprehend. There is a universal language that prevails across gender, borders, culture, you name it. Our cells require the same thing regardless of who you are and where you are. Only 5% of all disease patterns are truly a form of genetics, a manifestation of our genetic potential, which leaves 95% of all disease, cancer, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, autoimmune disease, all of them. All of those are a result of choice, of a lifestyle choice. And at first blush, that information is extremely difficult to hear because we are holding ourselves responsible for this disease. And however that's manifesting in our bodies, individual, in our bodies on a communal level. We now know through the research of epigenetics, have anyone here ever heard of epigenetics? Yeah? Excellent. We know epigenetics is a new science. It's been out there for the last 10 years. And basically what it states is that although that you are predetermined to have certain genes that can be expressed and manifested in certain disease processes, whether or not that gene is ever expressed is a function of the cell environment, a function of the environment of which that cell, that tiny, tiny cell sits. That is deeply profound because it takes off the pressure of anything that has come before you as far as genetics go. That you no longer have to be a victim of your genes, but responsible for your choices. What I've come to know through cellular intelligence is that we have 5 essential nutrients. And when I laid out this program for the cleanse, my hope was to really embark on that journey, to give people the tools to understand what these 5 essential nutrients were and how we can recreate this language. Because right now, as a society, as individuals, we are speaking a language that is completely foreign to our system, completely outside of the universal language that our cells know. An essential nutrient is basically something that we cannot live without, that when taken away, we die. And through this program, I talk about this in great length. The first essential nutrient is air. Air, the very breath that we require to live. And air represents this beautiful symbiotic relationship that we have with nature, with the plants that are around us. As they expire their oxygen, we inhale life. As we exhale our carbon dioxide, they inhale their life. There's a unique and beautiful dance that is held between us and the world around us. So what does a cellular environment look like when there is more than 80,000 industrial chemicals polluting it? What does a cellular environment look like when we have no toxicity data on 64,000 of those 80,000 chemicals? The second nutrient, water. Water is the flow of life. Water basically sustains, nourishes, and bathes every single cell in our body and is a master conductor of electricity. And we have 3 neurological centers, not 1. But we have a neurological center, brain proper, heart, and gut, all transmitting information via electricity. So what does our cellular environment look like when we have dumped PCBs, DDT, DDE, mercury, cadmium, arsenic, lead into our water supply? What does our internal cellular environment look like when we drink water from bottles laced with estrogen? What does our cellular environment look like when we take our municipal water supply and pollute it with fluoride and chlorine? The third nutrient, sun. Sun is probably the most underestimated nutrient that we have. It is the basis and the essence of all life itself. It supports all plant life and in essence supports our life. It stimulates physiological biorhythms of the body, our sleep-wake cycle. It helps us to manufacture vitamin D, a hormone that every cell in our body has a receptor specific for vitamin D. What does our cellular environment look like when we spend more time running away from the sun than embracing it? Our fourth nutrient, essential nutrient, is love. Love is our soul food. Love is how we nurture our families, our communities, and ourselves. What does a cellular environment look like void of love? The longest standing relationship that you will have in your life is the relationship that you harbor with yourself. So regardless of whether you're feeling the love for yourself, you're in it for your life. We now know that DNA, the DNA genetic material of our bodies, has 12 layers, 1 of which is physical, 11 which are energetic. What does a cellular environment look like void of that soul food for all of those energetic layers? The fifth nutrient, and this is the one we spend a lot of time talking about, is food. Food. We do food really well. In fact, we eat for every single occasion known to mankind. When we die, we eat. When we're born, we eat. If we're sad, we eat. When we're happy, we eat. We know food. It's the one thing that we do really, really well. Food provides every cell in our body the macro and micronutrients needed to sustain life itself. It provides the fats, the carbohydrates, the proteins, the vitamins, the minerals, and the phytochemicals. What does our cellular environment look like when we have over 3,000 different food additives in our food supply? What does our cellular environment look like when we have eaten ourselves into oblivion, but yet are starving at a cell level? What does our cellular environment look like when we as a culture have adapted or adopted a taste for food-like substances and not even real food? Food is profoundly personal. Food is profoundly powerful. So powerful, that when you look at the world that we have created in our external environment, it is the one that has resonated with our internal landscape. And I say to the participants of the program that when you choose differently, your external world will change. You will attract different people into your life. Your social situations will change. Your economic situations will change. And at first blush, that's a little hard to believe, that something so fundamental can make such a dramatic change in our lives. I say, trust me, watch it, it will happen. So, basically, halfway through this program, about 2 years into this program, I realized that this was not just about awareness, that this program was not just raising awareness. This program was actually saving lives. And as I watched the participants of this program change, their bodies physically changing, their lives socially changing, what I realized that one person can absolutely have an effect on a community. That people were coming off of their medications, blood pressure medications, cholesterol medications, antidepressants, sleep aids, gastrointestinal medications, pain medications, you name it, they were coming off it. Because they were tapping in to a cellular intelligence. They have recaptured their universal language. Unfortunately, we have a culture that is speaking a different language right now. Unfortunately, we have a culture that is moving far away from its balance point. And in essence, we are truly a little lost. However, we have a spirituality and we have a profound subconscious entity that longs to be found. And when we participate in programs such as this, there is a knowing on a deep, deep level that what we are doing is inherently good. That we are in fact moving from a state of dis-ease and moving into an era of ease. So before I leave you tonight, I would like to ask you 3 questions. Not necessarily to answer in concert here tonight, but to take home and mull over in your head. When was the last time that you looked in the mirror and loved the person that was looking back at you? When was the last time that you felt truly well? And when was the last day that you could say you lived to your highest potential? I brought a little love note, I like to say, from one of the participants in my last program. And she candidly spoke to me on several occasions about her journey with cancer. And at the time that she found the Cleanse program through a friend, she was just after receiving her cancer treatments and rebounding from one of her surgeries. And she said to me, and I'll only read one line of it, "I can now say that I do love myself for who I am. I could not do that a year ago." Programs like this can make profound changes in your life. And because of that, we can have a profound change in our community. I was one person inspired and made a dramatic change I think, in the face of our community. And for that, I want to thank every single one of you for listening tonight and hope that at some level this information resonated with you. Thank you.